Kamen Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with my review of Kamen Rider Ex-Aid episode 13. So this was the episode dealing with the aftermath? What even is an aftermath? Okay, aftermath of Kiriha's death and the debut of Mighty Brothers X, Double X, unfortunately. Not because I don't like them, but because I hate that I keep bringing this up, but and I say the same thing basically every time, is that Ex-Aid still is doing a better job at this debut thing than other series, and especially coming right off of Ghost is a good example to stack it up against. But I still wish we weren't getting a debut every single episode. It seems a little bit lesser this time because we're coming off a 1-week hiatus, but still, it's like we just got Dangerous Zombie last time. I'm just asking for a 1-episode buffer. Just a 1, because both Sentai and Rider are entering these situations where they dump everything in the first quarter, and then you have this huge drought where nothing debuts. And I'm not saying debuts make the show, but when you have boring stuff, the debuts can give you something to look forward to, and when they vomit it on you in the first quarter, then they have like nothing for a really long time. So it's like, you're still selling the toys, just don't sell them all at once. Or I don't want to get into that again, but the bottom line is that they're doing it better, but I'm still feeling it. I'm still feeling every episode we have a new thing, and I just want, if it's not between every debut, just give me one debut that has a buffer between it. It's like, man. And like, they've been good about it being like not a full-on rush debut. Like Toku will do that with, they'll debut it and you'll see everything it has to offer and then it'll be part of the arsenal. But like at least with this, it's kind of like level 5 where they debuted the first part of it like near the end and then the second one was a continuation. But it's like still, just 1 episode, please. But anyway, that's for the end. I'll get to that. Everything else in the episode was pretty solid for the most part. A lot of it focused on Imu's now a surgical intern, so he got Brave and not Bailey because he does not deserve Bailey. So it was actually kind of interesting because usually their dynamic is about, Imu is really about caring about the patients, and Brave's about curing them, but doesn't really care about them personally. It's more about a solve it quickly versus a long-term approach type thing. But this one actually focused on Imu's compassion being a detriment in terms of, or his feelings, in terms of his grief over Kiriha is affecting his performance as a doctor. Which I've said with that doctor with the laser. No, but I say that because it's really funny. Like when they refer to surgery and patient, it's about a fight, like Rider fight. So it's just funny. But basically, it's kind of a classic storyline that happens in medical shows or even cop shows, where something personal to the doctor or the cop is affecting their job performance, whether it be the death of somebody they knew personally or the death of somebody that happened because of them. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and it actually, I don't want to say put a negative light on Imu's compassion, but it actually showed that there is a negative side to his over-emotional state. I think there needs to be a balance between the two, because I've pretty much made it clear I'm not really a fan of Imu, but I thought this was an interesting, different perspective on his way of thinking in a way that it could actually be a detriment. Because in most cases, the show sort of plays it off like, oh, Imu's in the right because caring about people is the coolest. But I think Brave's approach has a lot of merit too, in terms of not wasting time with everyone's story of the week and just curing them and like, hey, you're cured, I didn't even have to get to know you, now I can go cure someone else. But I think this one actually presents Brave thinking a little more level-headedly to the audience, like thinking, you know, you need to keep your emotions in check, otherwise you're going to risk the lives of us and the patients in the field. So I thought that was interesting. And then, so the debut of Mighty Brothers was kind of also a foreshadowing for that dude. I don't know his name, I'm going to call him Perm Lad right now. The guy that pretended to be Genom. He's going to be Perm Lad until I learn his name at the end of the series and then forget it before the next Rider. Him wanting to know when his Gashat is ready, because his Kamen Rider Paradox system is also going to have a dual gear Gashat thing. So, and then Genom hands it to him. It's a blank black one, and I'm sure they'll be Premium Bandai. It'll be like prototype, Double Mighty Brothers or whatever. But anyway, he hands it to him and says, put this in Bugsters and test data on it. And he says if you put it in humans, it will infect them with an amount of Bugster virus that will kill them. Then of course he gives it to Imu, and Imu puts it on, and he goes like Kaioken, and then he gets the Mighty Brothers powers. I'm sure it'll be explained next week in terms of why he gets those powers, and I think there was information in scans, but I don't read the information, I just look at the pictures. So it was just a bit muddled for me. I know that the Mighty Brothers stuff will be explained next week, specifically like why that form, why him, but I'm a little bit more confused about why he needed Bugster data. Like, what would have happened to like that Gashat if he plugs it into a Bugster? Would have made a Bugster Gashat? I was confused on that part because I'm pretty confident that most of my questions about Mighty Action X will be answered next week, but the way he wanted research on the dual gear Gashat was confusing to me. But and also, speaking of confusion, I'm really confused about Gundam's plan. It could partly be due to what they haven't revealed, and partly due to me watching Search Party during these shows. But, so, when he revealed himself to be the president, he was like, oh, this is my plan all along. I'm going to start the ultimate game across the city, the Kamen Rider game he's making. And then at this episode, he's like, I'm taking the Gashats from him. Don't you need the writers for the Rider game? I'm just confused about that. Like, maybe there's somebody in the comments that's smarter than me, and by maybe I mean yes, that understands that, but it might be something that's a mystery, but it's not coming off as a mystery. It kind of reminds me of, to a different extent, the way I felt with certain things in Dino Charge, where it doesn't feel like a mystery that I'm curious about in a positive way, and more so feels like I'm missing a part of information, like a redacted document. So it's less intriguing and more like just sheer curiosity. Like, so I'm kind of confused on his plan. Like, I don't think we're supposed to know his full plan, but it seems weird that he's like, the Ultimate Rider game. We don't need writers anymore. But, okay. So, yeah, I'm kind of confused on that. The only other thing of note I wanted to make about this episode was at the beginning they revealed the Bugster virus and all that to the public. I guess to kind of get ahead of Gundam's plans, even though no one knows what they are. Well, sort of. I don't even know. I don't know what they are, so I'm just assuming no one does. But, so that was kind of an interesting story point, because I think it'll open up some stories in the future. Because it's not that often, in general, that the general public is made aware of the situation that's going on. And usually when it is, in most series, it's like later. So this is, I think, the earliest I can remember that it's this type of situation where the public's been made aware of it. There has been situations where, like, there's been an event, like in Kabuto, like when the worms landed, that it's been aware of since the beginning, but you know what I mean. So yeah, that's interesting. But overall, this was a solid episode. I did enjoy it. There was some good stuff going on. I'm just a little bit confused on some of the aspects of things, but still solid. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. But anyway, that's about it. Until next time, make sure you have the Crazy Podcast at writersrangerambles.com, and of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, Dawson Rider, signing out.